Because of a bet, I became Zhou Gujin's lover. That first night, after we'd been together, he boasted to his friends that he'd had me in 3 days. I smiled without speaking. Sometimes, the self-proclaimed clever hunter is just someone else's prey. I was docile and knew my place, never overstepping. Until his fiancée returned. He said, "Don't come around for a while. Tang Liang is coming back." Good. Tang Liang was coming back. In the hotel suite, Zhou Gujin took me again and again. The dim light was thick with desire. Afterward, I lay exhausted on the bed. Zhou Gujin leaned back against the headboard, smoking, a look of satisfaction on his face. The acrid smell reached me. I couldn't help but cough and buried my head under the blanket. Through the blanket, I heard him say in a hoarse voice, "Delicate." There was a hint of disdain in his tone, but he still put out the cigarette. He seemed to be in high spirits tonight. He pulled back the blanket and pinned me down, again. "Huh?" I mumbled a reply, tired. He bit my shoulder lightly in dissatisfaction, the faint smell of tobacco reaching me. "Then you rest. I'll do it myself." Afterward, I lay on the bed like I was falling apart, my bare back exposed to the cool air. Zhou Gujin showered and changed his clothes. "I transferred 300,000 to your account. Consider it overtime pay for tonight." He gave a mocking laugh. "Don't come around for a while. Tang Liang is back." Hearing that name, I instinctively clenched my fists. Zhou Gujin leaned down and kissed my head, put on his watch, and left without looking back. "Tang Liang, you're finally back." Sure enough, Zhou Gujin didn't contact me for almost half a month, and I knew better than to disturb him. Zhou Gujin had lived too easy a life, so easy he naturally assumed everyone revolved around him. He saw himself as the clever hunter, little knowing that he was just prey in someone else's eyes. That first night, after we'd been together, I heard him say into the phone, "Had her in 3 days. You guys lost. That's our gene for you. Looks like no prey can escape our gin's grasp." At the time, I was working part-time selling drinks at the Nightfall bar. In the top-floor private room, Zhou Gujin's friends were hassling me. "Hey, heard you're an ex-university student? What are you doing working here?" He leered, teasing. "Mom's sick and you need the money, huh?" I knew this was a common trick used by women working in bars. Spinning a sob story to gain sympathy from rich men and become their kept woman. But for me, it was true. I pressed my lips together and quietly replied, "Yes." They all laughed. Zhou Gujin was no exception. The man said, 10,000 for a drink, dare you? A bottle worth over 100,000, just a negligible pastime for these rich men. But it was nearly a year of my mother's nursing care fees. Or, spend a night with me, and I'll give you 100,000. The man put a hand on my shoulder. I flinched back as if startled. Meeting his displeased gaze, I still managed to stammer out, bracing myself, "If I drink one, you'll really give me 10,000? He scoffed dismissively. I hesitated for a moment, picked up the glass, gritted my teeth, and downed it. The high-proof liquor felt like a ball of fire, scorching my stomach. But for my mother, I forced myself to drink 4 glasses. Everyone in the room stared, dumbfounded. "Stop drinking. You'll die if you keep going." It was Zhou Gujin. We met again at the hospital. I was begging the doctor for a few more days to pay the surgery fees when Zhou Gujin appeared. I tugged at his sleeve, looking at him pleadingly. "Mr. Zhou, if I spend a night with you, can you give me 100,000? He glanced at me casually. I'm a virgin." I picked at my fingers in shame, saying softly. Zhou Gujin smiled, with a hint of triumphant pleasure, and tossed me a room key card, the International Hotel, room 1208. Tonight at 8. Afterward, I learned that my virginity was nothing more than a bet among rich men. The moment he pinned me to the bed, he glanced at the red birthmark on my collarbone and frowned. "This, natural?" His long, handsome fingers lingered on the small mark, as if savoring a memory. I nodded, my face flushed. "It's genetic. All the Qin daughters have a small red mark like this." Zhou Gujin hadn't expected me to be a virgin. When I cried out in pain, he froze for a moment. But only for a moment. Then, he grew more frantic, taking me again and again. Afterward, I was exhausted. He, however, was fully satisfied, boasting about winning his bet. He thought I was asleep and didn't shy away from the call. Or perhaps, even if I knew it was just their bet, he wouldn't have cared. As he left, Zhou Gujin gave me 200,000. That's too much. I clutched the blanket to my chest, tears still clinging to my lashes, but my voice was defiant. Zhou Gujin paused, then gave a mocking laugh. The rest is in advance. I pressed my lips together, my face red, and nodded, okay. I'll wait for you. From then on, I became Zhou Gujin's mistress. When he needed me, he would call. Each time afterward, he would transfer 100,000 as agreed. When he didn't call, I knew better than to disturb him. Over time, it became our silent understanding, and a not-so-secret fact within his circle. After Tang Liang returned, he really didn't contact me for half a month. I saw him again at the restaurant where I worked. He was just entering, arm in arm with Tang Liang and a group of people. I looked at that familiar face, as bold and stunning as ever. Like a full-blown rose. But this rose had crushed the life out of other flowers to bloom so brightly. I clenched my jaw and tried to avoid them. But someone from Zhou Gujin's group recognized me. Hey, isn't that Zhou Gujin? Shot him a glare, and the man immediately shut up. Tang Liang's sharp eyes scanned me, her gaze radiating obvious hostility. Tang Liang deliberately requested I serve their private room, pour us some drinks. She leaned her chin on her hand and smiled faintly, though her face held unmistakable contempt. Zhou Gujin held a cigarette in his left hand, his right resting on the back of her chair, watching me with leisurely amusement. I kept my head down, not daring to look at him. When it was Tang Liang's turn for a drink, she deliberately tripped me. I fell to the floor, the bottle in my hands, sparking a round of laughter. Clumsy, aren't we? Tang Liang scoffed. I lowered my head and apologized, I'm sorry. Then, I continued pouring the drinks. As I moved to Zhou Gujin, he watched me with a look of detached amusement. My hand trembled slightly as I poured. As he took his glass, his hand brushed mine, seemingly by accident. I recoiled instinctively. Tang Liang's gaze swept over. Gujin, look, you've scared the poor girl pale. The others stayed silent, pressing their lips together. Zhou Gujin was unfazed, smiling as he looked at me. Am I that scary? I shook my head, my face red. He knew perfectly well what I was afraid of. If Tang Liang discovered my relationship with him, she wouldn't let it go. Luckily, she didn't press me further. I stole a glance at Zhou Gujin, only to meet his mocking gaze. I lowered my head, biting my lip, fidgeting with my fingers nervously. With Tang Liang's shrewdness, she must have already figured something out. Why else would she have requested me specifically for service up here? But that was fine. It was exactly what I wanted. When the last dish was served, Tang Liang deliberately got up and bumped into me. Scalding soup splashed all over my hand, instantly turning it red and swollen. Can't you do anything right? So clumsy. She wiped the soup off her clothes with disgust. Someone who enjoyed the drama spoke up. Hey girl, do you have any idea how much this dress costs? I endured the pain in my hand, looking at her, face pale. I'm sorry. How much is it? I'll pay you back. The person scoffed. Honey, it's a limited edition. How could you possibly pay for it? Tang Liang gave a cold laugh. Her red-nailed finger hooked under my collar. Can't afford it? Then you'll have to pay me back another way. Like a demon, her casual smile hid a deadly malice. I watched her, my body trembling. How do I pay you back? She gave a cold laugh and handed me a slip of paper. I just got back. My place needs a cleaning lady. The paper had her address on it. Zhou Gujin frowned. I pretended not to see him. Looking at the address on the paper, a corner of my mouth lifted. Good. Tang Liang. This was a perfect opportunity. Later that night, I returned to my small rented room. My hands were bright red, already blistering. Every touch sent a searing pain. The moment I heard the knock on the door, I couldn't help but smile. 3 knocks, his usual signal. Looks like I gambled right tonight. I smoothed my expression and, through the door, quietly asked who it was. A deep, heavy voice replied, "Me." I opened the door. A small face streaked with tears met Zhou Gujin's furrowed brow. "Mr. Zhou, what are you doing here?" He didn't speak, just walked straight in. He was carrying a bag. I obediently closed the door. He sat on the sofa, looking up at me. Suddenly, he pulled me into his arms, seating me on his lap. He squeezed my burned hand. I couldn't help but whimper. "Still feel pain, do you?" he scoffed. I pressed my lips together, saying nothing. He took the ointment out of the bag and lowered his head, gently applying it to my hand. The cool ointment instantly soothed the stinging pain in my hand. During this tender moment, I obediently offered, "Thank you, Mr. Zhou." Zhou Gujin clearly appreciated it, a faint smile playing on his lip. Somehow, the act of applying the ointment slowly turned into intimate caresses. I straddled him. Zhou Gujin shifted restlessly, and the simple sofa creaked under the strain. He frowned in annoyance, lifting me and carrying me into the bedroom. The cramped room barely fit a bed, and Zhou Gujin and I were squeezed onto the small bed. Kissing my earlobe, he murmured, "Stay away from Tang Liang." I didn't reply, just responded to his movements. Seeing this, he said no more, his movements growing more insistent. His scent filled the confined space, and the already flimsy bed finally gave out. He frowned, losing interest. "Get a sturdier bed." This time, he transferred 110,000. The next morning, I went to Tang Liang's place, carrying breakfast. She leaned against the doorframe, loosely wrapped in a bathrobe, and scoffed, quite punctual. As I entered, I met Zhou Gujin, who was wearing a matching bathrobe. Our eyes met. He frowned, looking displeased. I lowered my head and set the breakfast dishes on the table one by one. Seeing this, Tang Liang looked at me with a smile that hid a knife. "I'm going to take a shower first." The spacious living room was left with just Zhou Gujin and me. Guess last night wasn't enough, so he came to Tang Liang's for the second round. I scoffed inwardly, keeping my expression neutral. Zhou Gujin said nothing, sitting at the table and slowly eating his breakfast. Tang Liang must have sensed something was off between him and me, which was why she deliberately orchestrated this little scene. Like Zhou Gujin, her life had been too smooth, making her confident in believing she was the clever hunter. They thought anyone was just prey they could manipulate at will. But they never considered that overly confident hunters often end up with nothing. Because prey can also fight back. After Zhou Gujin left, Tang Liang grabbed my hair, forcing me to look at her. "Don't think I don't know about why. Oh, you and Gujin's little affair." To Zhou Gujin, "You're just a new toy. Stop putting on that pathetic act and dreaming impossible dreams." Meeting her cruel gaze, I smiled. My almost mad smile instantly made her face turn pale. "You are." She froze for a moment, her eyes wide with fear. But only for a moment. She quickly regained her arrogant demeanor and swung her hand and slapped me. "I wasn't going to dream impossible dreams. I was weaving a nightmare just for you. Get on your knees and scrub this floor inch by inch." Her red high heel stepped on my hand. The blisters from the burn burst, oozing pus. The searing pain only made me feel more clear-headed. She disgustedly rubbed the pus from her heel onto my pants. She gave me a disgusted look and finally left. I knelt on the floor, my injured hand touching my swollen cheek. The mirror reflected a twisted smile. This smile, she should recognize it. After all, she had seen that same look of despair vanish from the top floor. Not long after Tang Liang left, Zhou Gujin returned. He looked down at me kneeling and scrubbing the floor, his brows tightly furrowed. "Do you really have to do this?" "Mr. Zhou, I don't want to cause you trouble." I knelt on the ground, my head bowed, looking resigned. Zhou Gujin gripped my wrist and pulled me up from the floor. His long, handsome fingers brushed my swollen cheek. "She did this?" I nodded. "I'll take you to the hospital." I refused. "No, Mr. Zhou, I don't want to trouble you." I'm grateful for all the help you've given me. Just as Miss Tang said, I won't dream impossible dreams. Zhou Gujin heard this and frowned. Constant submission only makes one feel dull and uninteresting. Only timely resistance can truly get under someone's skin. Zhou Gujin stared at me for a moment, then returned to his usual air of aloof aristocracy. Suit yourself. Tang Liying was right. To him, I was just a temporary novelty. What we had was a mutual action, no feelings, no hearts involved. But he seemed to realize he had overstepped, and coolly withdrew in time. This was the real Zhou Gujin. Just like before. I cleaned Tang Liying's place for half a month. She found endless ways to torment me. Zhou Gujin turned a blind eye. I knew this was his punishment. Punishment for not being submissive. Punishment for not breaking. It was a fierce storm that day. Tang Liying told me to go to the balcony to get the laundry. The moment I stepped out, she locked the balcony door. 20-something stories up, I huddled shivering on the balcony. Heavy clouds gathered, thunder rolled, and the wind howled over my head. Through the balcony glass, I saw the ground below like an abyss. Certain terrible memories flooded back. I bit my lip hard, watching the two people inside the living room, locked in a kiss. Zhou Gujin kissed her, but didn't forget to cast me a defiant look. I knew he was waiting for me to yield, to beg him. But I wouldn't. I knew constant obedience would eventually make Zhou Gujin lose interest. Only timely resistance would make him feel challenged. I stubbornly hugged my knees, letting the wind and rain batter me. Finally, Zhou Gujin pushed Tang Liying away and rudely yanked open the balcony door. Are you mute? Couldn't you call someone to open the door? I was chilled to the bone. Before I could stand, my legs gave out. Zhou Gujin quickly scooped me up, carrying me in his arms as he strode away. See? I won this round. Only by refusing to yield could I force Zhou Gujin to yield. That night, I was burning with fever at Zhou Gujin's place. The family doctor prescribed medicine, but I secretly threw it in the trash. If I recovered too quickly, how could Zhou Gujin feel guilty? He stayed with me the entire night. When I woke up the next morning, he had fallen asleep by the side of the bed. I looked around his bedroom. On the bedside table was a row of photo frames. In one of the photos, I saw the girl beside him smiling brightly. My eyes welled up without realizing it. Seeing her face day and night, he must still remember her, right? When Zhou Gujin woke up, he met my wet eyes. What's wrong? Still not feeling well? He asked in a hoarse voice. His shirt was rumpled, his hair messy. The high and mighty Zhou Gujin, when had he ever waited on someone like this? I scoffed inwardly. A hunter falling for his prey, that wasn't a good sign. His large hand rested on my forehead, nodding with satisfaction. The fever's gone. I clutched his hand, my face red, and said softly, Mr. Zhou, I want. Zhou Gujin froze for a moment, then burst out laughing. What? Feeling bold today? It wasn't surprising he was taken aback. Usually, if he didn't contact me, I never reached out. This was the first time. I was making a bet, betting Tang Liying would show up. After all, Zhou Gujin's phone had been ringing all night. Her clenched jaw expression betrayed her when she watched Zhou Gujin carry me away last night. I mouthed silently, I won. I'm sure she was itching to tear me apart. I hooked my arms around his neck, pulling him closer, and awkwardly kissed him. When it came to intimacy, Zhou Gujin never liked being passive. A small provocation was enough to ignite him. And sure enough, just as things heated up, Tang Liying burst in. Zhou Gujin. I shrieked. Zhou Gujin yelled at her mercilessly. Get out. My name is Chen Daiman. I used to have a happy family. But because of Zhou Gujin and Tang Liying, it was shattered. My sister, Chen Shutting, was sweet-looking, with excellent grades. She was very popular at school, and even the young Zhou Gujin was drawn to her. He pursued my sister openly, which angered Tang Liying. She started bullying my sister at school. Several times, my sister came home covered in filth. To keep our hardworking parents from worrying, she silently endured everything. I often saw her hiding in the small bathroom, crying secretly, and the forced naked photos hidden in her books. These became her death warrant. Until one time, I saw her in the bathroom frantically scrubbing her body with a brush. As if some dirt was clinging to her. She scrubbed and cried. The steel wool brush drew bloody marks on her skin, but she didn't stop. I was terrified. I rushed in and snatched the brush from her. She curled up like a startled fawn, her eyes vacant. Don't touch me, don't touch me. Go away, all of you, go away. The next day, the tragic news of my sister's death from falling reached us. My parents were in an accident on their way to the school. My father died, and my mother was paralyzed. A happy family was shattered just like that. From then on, my heart held only hatred. I wanted revenge for my sister, and for my parents. Returning that night, Zhou Gujin stopped me halfway. To punish me, he took me in the car. By the silent roadside, the expensive car shook violently. I saw Tang lying not far away, and the smile on my face grew wider. Mr. Zhou, can we do it again? I leaned against his neck, breathless, my shoulder half exposed. Zhou Gujin laughed. Your appetite is getting bigger. Because of me, Zhou Gujin and Tang Lying were on very bad terms. But for the family's interests, they had to keep up appearances. To avoid further complications, the two families decided to hold their engagement next month. Zhou Gujin told me not to worry. It was just a business alliance. I nodded. Of course, I wouldn't worry. Because that day, I would completely exit your world. Tang Lying was completely driven mad. As soon as Zhou Gujin left, her people tied me up and took me to an empty villa. I underestimated you after all. I knelt on the floor. Tang Lying held my chin from above, glaring at me fiercely. She saw the red marks on my neck, and her gaze grew even more vicious. You like men so much, huh? All right, I'll show the whole world how slutty you are. Saying that, she took out a camera and ripped open my dress. The sudden chill reminded me of my sister. Was she humiliated like this back then? She must have been terrified. I smiled bitterly, my heart aching, facing Tang Lying's distorted face. She was used to people trembling under her tyranny. So when she met my calm expression, she slapped me hard, like a madwoman. Bitch! She tried to make me submit this way. But I wouldn't give her the satisfaction. She frantically tore open my dress, but when she glanced at the red mark on my collarbone, her eyes widened instantly. That familiar look of fear appeared again. Who are you? I smiled, tracing the raised mark on my collarbone, my voice chilling. You remember, don't you? No, impossible. She stumbled back 2 steps. I stood up, closing in on her. Tang Lying, do you ever dream of her? Have you ever thought how much it must have hurt when she jumped from that building? I smiled, stepping closer, tilting my head as I watched her terrified expression. How funny. Who are you to chin shutting? She stammered, trembling. I let down my pinned up hair, shaking it out. My thick, wavy hair covered half my face, like the expression my sister had when those naked photos were taken that year. Recognize this? Tang Lying had a guilty conscience and turned pale with fright. But she still stubbornly argued. She jumped herself. What does that have to do with me? Seeing her refuse to admit her guilt, a surge of anger flooded me. It has nothing to do with you? Thinking of my sister's bloody appearance before she died, I couldn't help but tremble as I threw those sickening photos in her face, grabbing her by the throat like a maniac. If it wasn't for you, how would my sister have died? You killed my sister! You murderer! I screamed, choking her fiercely, wishing I could kill her. Her people were terrified, afraid I'd kill and quickly pulled me away. Tang Lying gasped for air, her eyes wide. She had almost forgotten there were others around. Seeing me restrained, she instantly regained some composure. She slapped me across the face. Bitch! So what if I killed her? She deserved it. Who told her to be a slut like you and seduce Zhou Gujin? You're as cheap as your sister. You knew it was just a bet for Zhou Gujin, but you still threw yourself at him. With your background, You think you can hook up with Zhou Gujin? Delusional. My heart instantly felt like it had been doused with ice water. A bet. Another bet. The first love my sister had carefully cherished was nothing more than a bet for Zhou Gujin. I felt completely disheartened. Seeing that I had lost my fight, Tang Liying instantly perked up. You're as cheap as your sister. Then I'll let you experience your sister's despair. Saying that, her people started tearing at my clothes. Tang Liying held up the camera like a demon, looking at the broken image of me in the lens. I suddenly thought of my sister. Was she also so isolated, so desperate back then? Ryup, my dress was torn from top to bottom, leaving most of my body exposed. Tang Liying moved the camera, satisfied. I had thought that even if Zhou Gujin wasn't truly in love, he at least liked my sister a little. I never expected this was just another game for him. I lost myself for a moment, feeling my sister's pain. My clothes were torn open, a chill swept over me. I instantly thought of my sister's helplessness and despair back then. Suddenly, I lashed out, breaking free from the two men's grip, and lunged at Tang Liying. Tang Liying couldn't dodge in time and I grabbed her hair. I bit down hard on her shoulder until my mouth filled with the taste of blood. She screamed in pain and slammed the camera down on my head. Warm liquid streamed down my face, but I didn't let go. Her people struggled with all their might to pull me away. My face and mouth were covered in bright red blood, like a vengeful spirit. Tang Liying rushed forward and slapped me hard, left and right. Are you crazy? Still not satisfied, she kicked me down. I had used almost all my strength just now and was weak. Her kick sent me tumbling, hitting the corner of a cabinet hard. A warm wetness spread between my legs. Dark red blood stained my torn dress. I smiled up at her. You killed Zhou Gujin's baby. Yes, I was pregnant. Only 4 weeks. Before I lost consciousness, Zhou Gujin burst in, Chendai man. Tang Liying instantly panicked. When I woke up again, I was in a high-end hospital room. Zhou Gujin was pacing, taking a call, looking frustrated. Got it, I know what to do. Mr. Zhou. I called out weakly. Zhou Gujin hung up the phone, walked over, and took my hand. Are you okay? I looked at his face, imagining the way my sister's face must have flushed and her heart pounded when she looked at him. Zhou Gujin. It was the first time I had ever called him by his name. Did you like her? Zhou Gujin pressed his lips together, saying nothing, but giving me my answer. It must have hurt so much when she jumped. I murmured, looking out the window. Zhou Gujin held me in his arms. It's over. It's all over. Maybe he should have known all along. That first time, when he traced the red mark on my collarbone, he must have remembered my sister. I thought my sister must have truly loved him. I had secretly read the girlish thoughts recorded in her diary. Pure, innocent, filled with an indescribable happiness. But I felt she didn't deserve that pain. The person she had truly loved was trying to erase everything that happened with a few dismissive words. I shook my head. No. It's not over. It will never be over. I told him I wanted to call the police, to sue Tang Liying. But he tried to persuade me to let it go. Die man, the Tang family is willing to pay for all your mother's medical expenses. For your mother's sake, let it go. I looked at him, feeling he was so cold, so foreign. What about my father and my sister? Did they just die for nothing? Zhou Gujin was silent for a moment, then frowned again. Do you think you can take down Tang Liying, take down the Tang family, with just a few words? I almost forgot. He was complicit. If Tang Liying fell, how could he possibly come out unscathed? But I still wanted to ask him, what about our baby? Did our baby die for nothing too? He had watched Tang Liying turn our child into a pool of blood. Zhou Gujin gritted his teeth. That child shouldn't have come into this world anyway. I couldn't help but laugh. As I laughed, tears streamed down my face. Zhou Gujin looked at me, his brows furrowed, his eyes complex. That expression reminded me of when he was at Tang Liying's place earlier, trying to make me yield, trying to make me break. He looked like that then, too. He always tried to force others to submit with that arrogant, superior demeanor. I laughed coldly and shook my head. not wanting to argue with him. Mr. Zhou, please leave. After that, Zhou Gujin came to see me a few times, but I refused to see him. The day before he and Tang Liang were to get engaged, he sent someone with an invitation. Chen Daiman, you must come. Of course, I would come. How could I not see the scene I had dreamed of seeing? The Zhou-Tang alliance marriage was a grand event. Almost every reporter in the city was there. I stood at the back of the hall, watching everything with cold eyes. Zhou Gujin stood on the stage, his eyes sweeping the hall, seemingly searching for something. When his gaze met mine, he seemed to exhale slowly, looking visibly relieved. The MC had just announced the opening. Zhou Gujin took the microphone, about to speak. At that moment, the high-quality sound system let out a piercing noise. Bitch! So what if I killed her? She deserved it. Who told her to be a slut like you and seduce Zhou Gujin? You're as cheap as your sister. You knew it was just a bet for Zhou Gujin, but you still threw yourself at him. With your background, you think you can hook up with Zhou Gujin? Delusional. All the conversations from that day had been recorded by me. Tang Liang instantly panicked. Turn it off! Turn it off! Who told you to play this? The hall fell silent. No one paid attention to her losing control. Then, a blurry video appeared. On the top floor of a school, Tang Liang held a camera, mocking Chen Shutting who stood near the edge. What? So desperate to die, huh? Tang Liang laughed disdainfully. You like seducing men, don't you? How was it, last night? 3 men, feel good? Tell me, what do you think will happen if I post this video? Chen Shutting was soaked through, her hair messy, begging bitterly. No, don't. Please, don't. Tang Liang shrugged, uncaring. All right, then kneel and beg me. Chen Shutting cried and knelt on the ground. Please, please delete it. I'll never see Zhou Gujin again. Tang Liang looked smug. Seeing how sincere you are, I'll think about it. Chen Shutting, realizing she was being played, was unwilling to give up. She suddenly stood up and lunged to grab the camera from her hand, but she missed, losing her balance and falling from the top floor. Holy shit! Liang, what do we do? Tang Liang's face was pale. What do you mean, what do we do? She fell herself. It has nothing to do with us. Let's go, quickly. The video ended there. Zhou Gujin's hands clenched at his sides, veins bulging. He stood on the stage, looking at me from afar. I looked back at him, expressionless. Tang Liang stared at everything in disbelief. Suddenly, as if waking from a dream, she screamed, "It's not true. This isn't real. It's fake. This video is fake." The video was real. Tang Liang must regret it now. She wanted to humiliate me, make me clean her house. O.T. Herwise, how would I have found that old phone hidden in the corner? She had handed me this powerful evidence herself. She only had herself to blame. The entire engagement ceremony was live-streamed. The images from the video instantly spread across the entire internet. The hall erupted in chaos. The police took Tang Liang away. Zhou Gujin and I looked at each other across the crowd. The words he hadn't spoken aloud, I had already heard. That night, in the hospital, he held my hand, murmuring softly, "Daiman, on the day of the engagement, I will announce the cancellation of the alliance with the Tang family publicly. I want to marry you. Promise me, you'll be there that day." He thought I was asleep, but I heard everything. But Zhou Gujin, we were destined to have no future. I looked at him and smiled. He started to chase after me but was stopped by the police. I mouthed silently, "Goodbye, Mr. Zhou." Epilogue 1. Zhou Gujin and I stood before my sister's grave. My sister, she truly loved you. But you became an accomplice in her death. Zhou Gujin's hands trembled as he looked at my sister's diary from when she was alive. Every word was filled with her secret affection for him. To him, this bet disguised as love was just a game. But to my sister, it was an unforgettable first love. She probably never imagined that loving someone would cost so much. Zhou Gujin cried, his tears wetting the yellowed diary. "I'm sorry." He looked at the black and white photo of my sister on the tombstone, filled with apology and regret. Just as before, my sister still smiled at him. But his apology would never bring back her "it's okay." The Zhou Tang alliance marriage was cancelled. Tang Liying was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Everyone she had bullied before came forward to speak out. Affected by public opinion, the Tang family's stock plummeted, and they fell into decline. Because of the scandal, Zhou Gujin was sent abroad by his family. He lost his right to inheritance. A year later, I saw Zhou Gujin again on a street overseas. By then, he had lost the arrogance and vigor of the Zhou family young master. He was wearing work clothes, a cigarette hanging from his lip, diligently washing a car. Because some ash fell on the car, the owner pointed at him and yelled. He probably never imagined he would have a day like this. Man, what are you thinking about? We should go visit Mom at the hospital. Okay.